Far below Australia's coast lies a hidden world of darkness and extraordinary life. Australia is famous for wildlife found nowhere else. But some of its most unusual animals live far beyond the coast, below the reach of sunlight in canyons and plains thousands of meters beneath the surface. Here, pressure can crush ordinary equipment, food may arrive as drifting scraps, and a camera can reveal an animal no scientist has seen alive before. So what actually lives in Australia's deepest waters? We are descending from the last blue light into the abyss. Oceanographers divide the deep water into broad zones. From about 200 to 1,000 meters is the twilight zone, where daylight fades rapidly. Below roughly 1,000 meters lies permanent darkness. At 4,000 meters and deeper, the abyssal seafloor begins, cold, immense, and usually covered by fine sediment. Australian expeditions have sampled animals at nearly 5,000 meters off the east coast and beyond 5,000 meters around the Indian Ocean territories. With no sunlight, there are no forests of seaweed and almost no photosynthesis. Much of the food begins near the surface, then sinks as marine snow, flakes of plankton, mucus, waste, and dead tissue. A large carcass can become a rare feast. Deep-sea animals therefore conserve energy, grow slowly, wait patiently, and waste very little. Some swim through the water column. Others walk, burrow, or sit motionless on the bottom until food comes close. Darkness does not mean the deep ocean is visually empty. Many animals produce their own light. Bioluminescence can lure prey, confuse predators, help animals recognize one another, or erase a silhouette by matching the faint light from above. Large eyes are useful where a trace of light remains. Farther down, eyes may shrink or disappear, while smell, touch, and vibration become more important. One predator collected from Australia's eastern abyss looks as though it belongs in a monster film. Deep-sea lizardfish carry long jaws lined with sharp teeth. They do not need to chase constantly. An efficient ambush predator can remain still, then seize almost anything small enough to swallow. In a place where the next meal is uncertain, a wide mouth is an advantage. Then there is the so-called faceless fish, a deep-sea cusk eel rediscovered during the 2017 Sampling the Abyss voyage. Its tiny eyes are hidden beneath the skin, and its mouth sits underneath the head, making the animal appear to have no face. It is not malformed. Its body reflects a world where vision is far less useful than sensing the seafloor and locating scarce food. The same Eastern survey brought up blobfishes, tripod fish, and bioluminescent cookie-cutter sharks. Blobfishes have soft bodies suited to deep pressure. Removed from that pressure, they lose their normal shape. Tripod fish hold themselves above the sediment on elongated fin rays, waiting for drifting prey. Cookie-cutter sharks use luminous undersides and specialized teeth to remove neat plugs of flesh from much larger animals. At first glance, an abyssal plain may look like an empty field of mud. Look closer, and it is covered with tracks, burrows, and feeding marks. Brittle stars, worms, crustaceans, sponges, and sea cucumbers process the sediment. Many are small, but together they recycle nutrients across an enormous area. The seafloor is not barren. Its life is simply spread thinly across distances that are difficult for humans to imagine. Off Western Australia, submarine canyons cut through the continental margin and channel material from shallow water into the deep. In 2020, the remotely operated vehicle Sebastian explored the Ningaloo Canyons, while scientists mapped the bottom and collected specimens with robotic arms. The dives revealed dense patches of sponges, corals, echinoderms, crustaceans, and gelatinous animals in places that had barely been observed. The expedition's most famous sighting was a Siphonophore arranged in an enormous spiral, and estimated at about 45 meters long. A Siphonophore is not one ordinary individual. It is a colony of many specialized bodies called zooids joined together and functioning as one animal. Some provide propulsion, some capture prey, and others handle digestion or reproduction. Its scale was extraordinary, but its design is a normal deep-sea solution, cooperation built into a single living colony. In Western Australian canyons, scientists also collected specimens of the Carnarvon flapjack octopus, later described as a new species. It lives at roughly 1 to 1.5 kilometers depth. Small fins help it swim, while a web of skin joins the arms. On the bottom, it can flatten against the sediment, turning a soft, rounded octopus into something resembling a pancake. Sea cucumbers are among the most important workers on the deep seafloor. O'Loughlin's sea cucumber, discovered off the Cocos Keeling Islands, carries rows of leg-like tube feet and soft projections across its back. It moves over the bottom, swallowing or filtering sediment and extracting edible material. What comes out has been mixed and reworked, helping oxygen and nutrients move through the upper layers of the seabed. Occasionally, an enormous package of food arrives. A whale carcass can support scavengers, microbes, and specialized animals for years. Off Byron Bay, researchers recovered pilot whale bones, carrying a previously unknown bone-eating zombie worm. The worm has no conventional mouth or gut. Root-like tissues and bacterial partners help it draw nutrients from bone. One dead whale can become an island of life in a food-poor landscape. Not every abyssal discovery is large or dramatic. A crustacean, nicknamed the Game of Thrones shrimp, measures only about 2.5 millimeters. It was collected off Jarvis Bay at close to 4,000 meters. Tiny animals like this can be abundant inside deep sediment, yet remain unknown because collecting them without damage, sorting them, and comparing them with museum material takes years of careful work. Voyages around Christmas Island and the Cocos Keeling Islands have expanded the picture even further. Survey sites ranged from shallow water to more than 5,400 meters. Researchers documented fishes, sea stars, brittle stars, worms, mollusks, crustaceans, sponges, and corals across isolated seamount slopes and abyssal plains. Isolation can produce distinctive communities, while deep currents also connect animals across vast sections of the Indian Ocean. The deep sea cannot be surveyed with one tool. Multibeam sonar maps mountains, canyons, and plains. Towed cameras show which habitats are present before sampling. Remotely operated vehicles provide close-up video, and careful collection nets and sleds recover specimens for anatomy and genetic study. Environmental DNA samplers detect traces left in the water. A photograph can reveal an animal, but a preserved specimen is usually needed before a new species can be formally described and named. The scale of the unknown is striking. In one recent analysis of Indian Ocean Territory surveys, scientists recognized 1,059 taxonomic units. Only 495 matched described species, while 149 were considered new species across its first 12 years. RV Investigator helped scientists formally describe 179 species, with more than 1,500 potential new species still awaiting detailed work in collections. Deep animals recycle carbon and nutrients, support food webs, and record how life adapts to extreme conditions. Their habitats can also be affected by warming, declining oxygen, fishing pollution, and seabed industries. Australia's marine parks protect examples of abyssal plains, seamount chains, and submarine canyons, but protection depends on knowing what lives there, where it occurs, and how slowly damaged communities may recover. Australia's deepest waters are not an empty darkness. They contain patient predators, living light colonial giants, soft-bodied octopuses, sediment farmers, and entire communities built around a fallen whale. Every expedition adds names to the list, but it also exposes how incomplete that list remains. Far below Australia's familiar reefs and beaches, discovery is still happening, one dive, one sample, and one strange animal at a time.